And we'll continue with A House Like a Lotus by Madeleine L'Engle. Ursula Herschel was fascinated by Daddy's work, and when she and Max came over for dinner, she and Daddy always spent time together in the lab. Zan and I both helped in the lab, feeding the animals, cleaning the tanks, and I had to wash the floor with a hose once a day. Max was interested and intelligent, but Ursula was the one who truly understood. She and Daddy really hit it off. Once, in January, Daddy and Ursula went to Florida, to a lab there specializing in the nervous system of the octopus. In February, they went together to Baltimore, where Daddy was giving a paper at Johns Hopkins. They had lots in common. Zan once said, "It's a good thing Ursula Herschel is much too old for Dad. What are you talking about? They sure like each other. Kate's noticed it, but Mother doesn't seem jealous. They're just friends. There isn't any reason to be jealous, and indeed, Mother, rather than being jealous, often suggested asking Max and Ursula to dinner. But if Urs, as it were, belonged to Daddy, Max belonged to me, and my parents encouraged the friendship. Mother said, 'I expect too much of you, Polly. The oldest always gets too much responsibility foisted on her. I should know, of course, you can go over to Bouillère this afternoon.' If the car wasn't free, I'd go to Bouillère right from school, taking the bus from Cowpertown to Mulletville and walking over from there. And then, later on, Mother would come for me, or Urs would drive me home. Max had called and asked me to tea early in January. The uncles had left, Charles had gone back to Boston with Denny's and Lucy, and Kate had stayed with us. The house was back to its normal population. School had started again, and was as stillifying as ever, and I was glad to be going over to Bouillère, but a little shy, driving over by myself. I got my license on my 16th birthday. One of the good things about Cowpertown High was the driver's ed course. The Mother and Daddy said that driver's ed and similar courses were one reason why the science department was nearly non-existent, and why no languages were offered. As I climbed the steps to the front entrance to Bouillère, Max flung open the door and welcomed me in. Nettie and Ovid were setting out tea in the library. I didn't see Ursula. Urs went into Charleston on a consultation, Max explained. They don't have a neurological service at M.A. Horn, more's the pity. It would keep Urs busy. Then he introduced her to the chief of neurology at Mercy Hospital, and one would have thought Denny's had given him pure gold. In a sense, he did. People flock to New York to see Ursula. They'll flock to Charleston just for a consult. Maintenant. She spoke to me in French. Did you bring your homework with you as I suggested? I replied in Portuguese. It's here in my canvas bag. Not Portuguese, Max said. That was Portuguese, wasn't it? Yes, and it's the language I speak best, I answered in German. She laughed. I concede you're good at languages. Let me see some of your schoolwork. I pulled out my English notebook. On the bus from school to the Coopertown dock, I'd written a sketch of the natives on Gaia, comparing them with the Indians we'd met when Daddy took Charles and me with him for a month when he was doing research in Venezuela. That's good, Polly, Max said to my surprise. You really give a flavor of the people you're writing about, but you haven't fallen for the noble savage trap. You look at them with a realistic eye. Where did you get your gift for writing? I didn't know I had one. Daddy used to write when he was young, and Mother says he should go over his journals and have some of them published, but he's too busy. If he's that good, he should make time, Max said. She began leafing through my English notebook. You use imagery well. That's a good snow metaphor, soft flowers that perished before they reached the ground. Where have you seen snow? Sometimes it snowed in Lisbon, and I've seen snow when we stayed with our grandparents in New England. Good. I didn't think you could have written that if you hadn't seen it. Does your English teacher appreciate you? She gives me B's. She thinks I'm showing off when I write about Lisbon and other places we've been. Are you? No. When she wants a description of a place, I have to write about places I know. True, but I can see that it might seem like showing off to your English teacher. What's her name? Miss Zulowski. Hardly a good South Carolina name. Who are your favorite poets? Sandy and Rhea often gave me poetry for Christmas. This year it was a small volume of 17th century writers. I loved it. There's someone called Vaughan, I think. I love the way he relishes words. And Miss Zalosky? If anything rhymes, Miss Zalosky says it's old-fashioned. She likes poetry that obfuscates. Max leaned back on the sofa and laughed. And I suppose she likes all that garbage full of genital imagery. Not at Cowpertown High. The PTA has its eye out for obscenity. Go and catch a falling star, Max said. Get with child a mandrake root. She doesn't like John Donne. I think he scares her. Too real? That's not what she calls it, but yes, I think she's afraid of reality. So if poetry doesn't mean anything, she doesn't have to cope with it. Max climbed up on the library ladder and pulled a book off one of the top shelves and read a few lines. E. Cummings. I love him, I said. Sandy and Rhea gave me one of his books for my birthday a few years ago. Not cool enough for your Miss Z? Too cool. Max climbed down from the ladder and refilled my cup. It was a special tea, smoky, and we drank it without anything in it. I liked it. I liked Max. I liked talking with her. At home, everybody except my parents was younger than I, and our conversations were limited, and at school I didn't have any real friends. It wasn't that I was actively unpopular, I just didn't have anyone special to talk to. Mostly I felt I was walking through the scene, saying my lines reasonably well, but not being really in the show. At school I tried to play the role that was expected of me as best I could. With Max I was myself. She laughed at me gently. What a snob you are, Polly. Me? I was startled. Why not? It's obvious that school bores you, and that there's nobody to challenge you, teacher or student. A lot of the kids are bright. She cut me off. Go ahead and be a snob. I'm a snob. I'm a snob. If you didn't interest me, I wouldn't give you the time of day. Being a snob isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can mean unwilling to walk blindly through life instead of living it fully, being unwilling to lose a sense of wonder. Being alive is a marvelous, precarious mystery, and few people appreciate it. Go on being a snob, Polly, as long as it keeps your mind and heart alert. It doesn't mean that you can't appreciate people who are different from you or have different interests. Max made me not only willing to be Polly Hymne O'Keefe, but happy to be, and we'll pause there.